Merde, le masque.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
So I think this is. So thank you for joining us. I see like we have quite some people there. Thank you for joining us. The idea is we have often product meetups that we. Let me mute I'm starting to hear my voice here. So let me mute it here.
We often have product meetup where we try to update people on the different features, the different improvements. Try to dedicate some product meetup also on some specific topics. And during the different product meetup, like a lot of people were talking about Gatsby and wanted to know more about what we are doing, what are the status on the different subject in Prismic about Gatsby, and so we
thought like, okay, let's dedicate one whole session for that, and you'll see why. We will dedicate the whole session. There are a lot of things about. We worked a lot on that, and we talked several times about it, and we thought like let's take 1 hour where we talk about this, because a lot of our users use Gatsby, and we want to get that better because it's an increasing number also of users that use Gatsby. Well, of course, people use, what are the technologies favorite technologies that people that use with Prismic? There's Next.js, right, on React.
Let's say Next.js, and Gatsby are the main
Gatsby are the main ones.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of JavaScript anyways. So here's the first thing. Like I don't know, what do we start with? Maybe we can start with a question.
Yeah, like maybe the first thing that we wanted to say is the fact that the way this will go is that we'll discuss a bit what are our plans, but what we would like to do also on top of that is to get a lot of feedback and to get some of the insights that you have or that you might have on your usage, and so that's why we also will ask some questions and if we could make this session as interactive as possible so that we can get insight from you but also answer your question, it would be really good.
So yeah, let's say the goal of this meetup, is that after we get out of here, what we want is first know about what you feel, what you do, what you want to improve, all these kind of things. But maybe, I said it backwards. The first thing is to tell you about the story, what happened, why we are here, and what we did so far. And the second thing is to hear about your experience with Gatsby, your ideas, what are the important things for you, so that we focus on the right things, right? There are a lot of things that seem important to us, but what's important is you and what you're doing with it. So I don't know, maybe people can try test to get people. Let's warm people up with using the chat, right? Let's
let us know how. Let us know how are you first, and and then we'll start.
So basically, most of the questions we'll ask you to answer in the comments. So that's fine. I mean, we're not going to use, I guess, polls or anything like for today. Prefer to read chat. I'm very old school here.
What we wanted to do first maybe is also to introduce a bit Gatsby to people that might not know it. We think that most of you know it, but like we'll take like a few seconds to just introduce what is Gatsby and why it's becoming that popular in the JavaScript community, in the Jamstack community, so that people that might not be aware of what it is or might have a small understanding of what it is, we will just introduce it to them. Let's switch.
I mean, probably most of you know already what Gatsby is, but let's go and give a definition here. You like definitions?
I'm not a huge fan of definitions, but I think it's necessary sometimes. Good morning from California. Nice.
Okay.
So the first thing is that Gatsby. So Gatsby is a framework, it's a React-based framework that allows you to generate statically websites. So that's the first thing to understand. Basically, you will use React and a React framework to statically build your website, statically build HTML pages. And under the hood, the way it works is that it's a React framework that will build an internal GraphQL API that you will query in order to build your pages.
Yes.
So
let me put it in other words.
For sure.
Okay. It's a React app, so JavaScript, React. You write with React technology your website, and then you hit a button or you run a script, or in a certain event, Gatsby will build all these HTML files, and then you host them in a static server. That was the beginning. Now, of course, Gatsby became much more than that, and there are a lot of things, and we have some questions for you about like what you prefer and all of that about Gatsby, but that's the basics of Gatsby. And what Renaud said is that Gatsby generates an API on top of any API it connects to. So like if it's connecting to Prismic, it will read Prismic's API, all of it, all the database, and then create a GraphQL API. Then that you will use then in your app to display things.
Exactly.
And I think this should be clear already to a lot of people. Now, if you have questions about that and it's not clear, hi Ohio, USA. Hi. Glad you're here. Thank you for saying hi. So yeah, that's the basic thing. Okay.
Yes. The main thing that Gatsby is also putting emphasis on is the fact that the websites that you build with Gatsby are really, really fast. That's one of the main bonus that you get when you use Gatsby. You build a static site that is like really optimized, really fast. And on top of that, what is really good about Gatsby is that there is a huge community that is really active, very active, and that grow. And that builds like awesome tools, like awesome plugins, theme that you can reuse and that you can use to make your workflow while using Prismic or Gatsby even faster.
Yes. And we'll talk more about this. We have Nick, who says, Slice Machine looks amazing. I'd love to be able to use it in our Gatsby project in a similar way that Nix and Nux user are using it. Right now, we have kind of rolled out our own solution, but it's not anywhere near as nice as you guys have developed. There's a lot of manual steps in our process when we create a new slice type currently. Nice. Thank you very much, Nick, for this. This makes us happy, at least to know that we are doing the right thing on the Slice Machine project, and we have to bring it. We didn't think. It wasn't part of what we wanted to discuss here. Yeah. But do you have like something quick that you can give update on how that we wanted to open Slice Machine so that it can be implemented with any technology? Where are we at on this?
So where we are at, we are basically the part that Slice Machine is basically two things. Let's say it's a CLI commands that provide you a workflow to create slices, to like configure your project and stuff like that. And there is a builder and another component that we call the slice zone. Basically, anytime we want to use Slice Machine in another technology or open Slice Machine to another technology, what we have to do is to adapt the CLI commands, adapt the slice zone, and adapt the slice builder. So what we do have today open source is all those tools like the slice zone, the slice builder, and the CLI. If you want to contribute to the slice zone to create a new Gatsby slice zone, let's say, you can already do it. Slice builder, you will be able to do it. Even though it's open source, I think we need to provide some guidance. But one of the things that is really complicated to be able to contribute to is the CLI. So what we are doing at the moment is to revamp the CLI in order to make it way more modular, so that we will basically have a next Slice Machine plugin, a next Slice Machine plugin, and then people will be able to add a Gatsby Slice Machine plugin, Svelte Slice Machine plugin, and where we are at the moment, we are currently building it, so it should be ready in February, and we should be able to release the first version where you will be able to contribute to.
So the plugin thing to Slice Machine to make it open to everything, you're saying that working on it, and when is the February, somewhere in February. But if you want to contribute to building a slice zone and all that, there are already issues for that, or RFCs or something like that?
There is not issues and not RFC for now, but we can discuss it on GitHub. You can open right away an issue, for example, on GitHub, so that we can start discussing it.
We should maybe create it, yeah. We should create it, yeah. So that we. But if you are willing, like Nick, if you really want like this and you want to contribute to make it go faster, so that you get it quicker, please let us know here in the chat, and then we'll talk to you, and we'll find a way so that you help us with that. It will go like we adjusted. Thank you very much about the mic. But maybe I want to just to give a very quick introduction for people that maybe don't understand what we're talking about here about and really quick about Slice Machine. But if you're interested in that, there is a meetup next week.
Yeah,
the product meetup is next week. And we will be talking about also Slice Machine and component and building with websites with components and how to improve that. So if you are interested in building websites with components and you want whatever the technology is, you're welcome to come to that event. You'll understand better about our approach, what we're trying to do, and you can help us by telling us what you want to be solved basically there. And I hope Nuha or someone in the team, probably Edward, will get you that. Yeah, there's the link. So don't hesitate to click on the link. I know there are like a few fields to fill to get into hop in and to write and to register for the event. Register the event and we can talk about Slice Machine there. Actually, in the meantime, we are also experimenting with like YouTube and should we stream to you Hopin and YouTube. So here's a question: who prefers? Did we ask it in the past?
I don't think
so. Who prefers YouTube? Who prefers? Who is okay with Hopin? Please let us know in the chat, and we'll do things accordingly. But for now, we are also streaming on the channel on YouTube. So back to Slice Machine, it's a very simply put, and I will go really quickly because we have a lot of things that we want to discuss.
Yes.
Very, very quickly said. YouTube. Slice Machine is basically we extracted best practices from our users and clients that they were doing when they build websites with components. Basically, they would break the website into several sections. Each section will be a component, and then they will have a big loop basically in their page that will go through the slices and will display them. So that was the structure of their project. Their structure of the project, they had folders, a folder for if each component. They had the model next to the component file as well, and they would develop each component in isolation. And then they have a loop in their page. Simply, their page will almost be only a loop that will go through the slices and display the right component in the right place. And we thought, like, this is really cool. And there are like several clients that were doing that. But they're like, let's offer it. Let's offer something open source for people so they can use it in their projects. And this is what we did with Slice Machine. So basically, this is what Slice Machine is in a nutshell. Now, there are a lot of things about it. There is a new, smaller custom type builder. We call it the slice builder, so that you can build models for the slice. So it's more isolation, and we integrated Storybook for testing and for mocks and stuff like that. So that's in a nutshell. But anyway, we'll get into that discussion in the product meetup. You have the link. Register, and we can talk more about Slice Machine. Thank you, Nick, for that question. So before I take more questions,
yes.
So what we wanted to say is we wanted to ask a question, right?
So the first question that we wanted to ask is for the first. Maybe it's interesting also to understand is if everyone here is using Gatsby with Prismic or not, or using other technologies. But the first thing is, what do you love the most about Gatsby? What made you choose this technology and this framework for your project? And that's an interesting thing for us to understand where maybe we should put the focus on when we discuss it with you, but also to understand how to differentiate it also internally in front of other technologies like Next.
Like we want to know what are the best things for you. Why do you choose Gatsby? What are the best things about Gatsby that make you choose Gatsby? And this way we can also focus on better support of these functionalities of Gatsby, right? If you tell us like, oh, I like ABC about Gatsby, nice. Okay, maybe we should focus on making ABC even better with Prismic than with Gatsby alone. So that's why we are asking this question. And I see meanwhile there is a question about Gatsby images. Like Gatsby has great support for handling images. Are there best practices you would recommend whereby images can be managed in Prismic by content editors but served from the Gatsby generated? Can you note it? We can answer it afterwards so that we don't break completely the flow of the event. Images. I guess Nuha is noting these questions, and then I have a list. She will prepare a list. Thank you, Nuha, for doing all of that for us. I mean, I know it's very important. So I will have a list of questions that can answer step by step.
Gatsby.
So people, what do people do? Can you read?
Yes.
I know you don't have your glasses.
Yeah, I will try. It's an exercise. So Syed is saying it's called. So what I saw is the good documentation, the themes, community, the plugin, people are talking about the GraphQL API layer in front of the data source. The fact that it's focused mainly on, there is a huge focus on performance. The active community I can see here. We are building network of sites and Gatsby theme, a repeatable platform for sites, and the GraphQL API and the plugins have been extremely helpful. So the productivity to replicate basically websites and to be able to build a website like machine basically. And the best about Gatsby for me is the way it standardized all the data source and how easy it is to create your own source. Yeah, so the layer, if I understand, like being able to fetch an external API and then having this GraphQL layer, being able to stitch multiple data source into a GraphQL API is a real bonus. Speed of finished site, uniformity for GraphQL.
Okay, so what are the main ones? Let's say. What to you? What you read? What are the main ones?
The performance comes pretty often. The fact that the website is fast. The fact that you have a standardized way to query an API, so you don't have to basically understand. You don't have to learn the contract of the different API that you are querying, and the community. So themes, plugins.
So community. And you said a few examples. Why, if other people find like the community of Gatsby is the important thing about it, what does it make it different and better? And I have my own ideas. And you said like themes and plugins.
Yeah.
So maybe if you can also give us some examples of these kind of things, that will be greatly helpful. So. Let me see other things. So I'm connected.
The docs is coming also pretty often.
Okay,
in the comments,
docs,
like the quality of the doc. They have
the best docs. For me, they did this kind of tutorial style docs that are really easy to. And I heard so much feedback about their docs. I guess it's a big thing about Gatsby.
Yeah, it's a huge inspiration on how they structure their docs and the way it's.
And we are inspiring from them actually in our docs, and we will talk about this as well. I have also a few comments that come from YouTube. Let me look just so that thank you people that joined us also on YouTube. Let me have a look at the comments.
Do you want me to do?
I can. So YouTube. Yeah, I have a question here.
Yeah.
How different is Gatsby with Next.js? We did a video about that back some time ago. Now things are changing. Maybe that we should do a new video, a refreshed video about what's different. What are the differences between Gatsby and Next.js? And by the way, so are here from the people that are online here, are you exclusively Gatsby? There is a question about that, right?
Yeah.
It's the next one, I guess. Is it? Oh, so who uses Gatsby exclusively? And who uses other frameworks, and when do you use other frameworks? Do you use only Gatsby, or do you use other frameworks, like just give an example, Next or others? And why would you use something different? So maybe we can give a comment here on the image.
Yeah. So
image, and there are several ideas about the image.
I will try maybe to reply to the answer. What is the difference between Gatsby and Next?
It's
really
a
quickly.
Long thing.
No,
yeah.
really quickly. I will try.
Go ahead.
I will try. At least I really like the explanation that we had in the video with that we partner with OAuth. They explained, Lucy, and I don't remember the name of the person from OAuth0, sorry. But
OAuth0,
yeah, they explained that basically today in the framework ecosystem, basically we have two big JavaScript frameworks that are becoming very popular. There is React and Vue, and in both of those communities, basically we are finding frameworks on top of Vue and React that are doing different things. We have for React, we have Gatsby, that is basically a static site generator that will fetch data from an external data source, build an internal GraphQL API, and then you have a React app that will query this GraphQL API. You have exactly the same, you have the same concept in the Vue community. This framework is called GridSum. But then you have another way to do that, even though those frameworks are also doing static site generation. It's for React, it's Next.js, and for Vue, it's Next.js. So basically, it's what we called what is the name? It's an app that can do either query on the client side and on server side. Hybrid. So basically, you have.
It's more no. Is that anyway?
Someone will put the name maybe on the chat.
ISO something, no?
I don't remember the terminology. But basically, it's you have a server. You can do server-side rendering. It's the main focus of Next.js, and Next.js it was the thing. And you can now do for those framework also static-side generation. Universal app. That's right. Thanks, Levi. Universal app. And that's the main thing the main difference between Next.js and Gatsby.
So Olivier Valdez says, I use different frameworks like Next and Nuxt, but Gatsby is my favorite framework. Wow, you use both React and Vue. A lot of respect. I mean, that's a challenge to learn the two different things. I see mostly people choosing one between React and Vue. That's complicated.
So we have Noah and Levi correcting us. So the person from O0 with whom we did the video is Jem Quick. So you can check his Twitter. You can check also the video on Twitch that we did, and you will see also a small demo of Prismic with Next.js.
I have this impression that we're certainly going to run out of time.
Probably.
It's already 25. So basically, Next, to give it like in simple terms,
you will put it on top. Okay.
In Next is a hybrid where you have server side for things that require server side and static for things that are static. So there is a caching system and all that builds the static version for the static parts. Like a website has static parts. And then you have the dynamic thing, like there are forms and stuff that you want to be dynamic, then you can have them run on the server. So it's a hybrid model. And it's very interesting. And I think they worked a lot on making it more accessible.
Yeah.
Whereas Gatsby is more like coming from the other part where like, okay, let's build everything up front and then do this kind of incremental build. So we enhance the build as we go. So this is these are the main differences for people that ask that question. So what about should we talk about the images or should we go into the story?
Maybe we'll take the image at the end.
At the end, about the images.
And
there is an answer about images and how you need to handle it, and there are different ways. So we can talk about that.
Let's continue in that case.
Yes,
okay,
absolutely.
So we'll try to now go back into the story that we had with Gatsby and how we've built like the developer experience with Gatsby and the whole story between integrating Prismic and Gatsby. So basically, and as most of you might know, we started to work on a plugin in 2018. And the goal of this plugin that we worked with Birkir, it's Birkir Johnson that was previously a lead developer at Weno, but now created his own company. We've worked on a plugin with him on a plugin, and the main thing that we wanted to do with this plugin is to be able to manage the preview. We say the preview, the Prismic way, because as you now know.
Let me give some context here because I just realized that back then previews didn't even exist. I mean, people
in Gatsby.
Yeah. I mean, even in other CMSs, but that's not the topic.
Yes.
But they didn't even exist. So what we thought, like, okay, people are building websites with Gatsby, but they can't preview their content before publishing it, and that wasn't okay. So we thought, like, we should absolutely have a preview mechanism.
And yes, for sure. The thing is,
so that people can look at the changes before they publish them and commit to them publicly.
And so this was not supported because, as we said just before, Gatsby is a static site generator. So at the end, what you get is HTML files. So you don't have any way to basically preview content. It's pages that are already generated, and you cannot preview content. So, but we tried to create a specific plugin that will handle this. And we released it, and we started to recommend it, and we made it the base in terms of communication for our users.
Yeah, like we recommended to everyone
to document it and everything.
Now, who used this plugin? We call it the Birkir plugin. Who used how? What's the name exactly? Because
Gatsby Source Prismic GraphQL.
Yeah. who used that plugin? Who is still using that plugin? Also, this is the question. So who knows about that plugin, and who liked it, and who hated it, and who is still using it? And yeah, okay, there's some people. So Nikki used it and still uses it.
And Nick
as well. Okay.
Alexander had a lot of issues with it.
Not anymore. Had a lot of issues with it. I didn't switch to the Prismic fork. We have a Prismic fork of it.
Yeah,
still.
we need to explain that
plugin. Yeah, we didn't. I used the plugin. Was working well. We used it and moved off to the recommending. Okay, and Syed, I guess Syed. Why, by moving from that to the new one, are you satisfied? Do you think that it's a good alternative that we're providing you? Nikki is saying, hoping to better understand the migration process and future of Prismic Gatsby through the session. Yeah, okay, that's good goal. That's what we want to address here. We move to the new one way better. That's what Nick is saying. Okay. And there are some issues maybe that we can help people with. So I guess a lot of you are aware that we have a community forum where you can ask questions about this migration, and there are, we have a team, the education team will be helping you through the answers. So don't hesitate to ask questions there. If you are stuck with this migration path, just fire a question there or look at the threads. Maybe you'll find something there. I don't know if someone in the education team can post a link to the forum if someone is not on it yet. So yes, so basically we did this plugin. We wanted to have a preview, and it was working well. And then,
so people start to use it for production website. But then we had the first issue, and we had a second issue, and we had a lot of issues. And this is for a specific reason related to the way we've built basically this plugin.
So basically, people were like contacting us, like saying, "Okay, this is working really well. We like preview and all of that, but it's broken." And the problem it was broken like in the middle of nowhere, like and it suddenly breaks. We don't know that it's broken, and it will break like in out of the blue, right?
Out of the blue.
And then a lot of people are blocked in their development, and we have to quickly handle that. And we worked a lot on trying to fix this.
Even production website that were working the previous day were breaking in production after a rebuild, for example. So yes, a lot of problem.
So Nuha said she extended the event by 15 minutes in case we run out of time. Cool. Thank you very much. Maybe you'll have this kind of feedback pop up if we go off time. You can refresh so that we can still be there.
So basically, we will have to take a step back a bit to explain why we had those problems and what happened.
So maybe the global structure of this session was like, okay, let's get some feedback, of course, but let's explain the story so that you know exactly why did we do the change and what was the problem. This understanding will allow you also yourself to have some better understanding of what are the choices that you have and how things are working, and then you can debug problems maybe better, basically.
Yes. So the main thing and the main source of those problems were coming from the fact that we wanted to support preview with Prismic, but we with Gatsby, but we didn't want to support like a basic preview. We really wanted to support the fully fledged preview that we provide through Prismic. So being able to provide what we call unlimited preview session. So
this is important. Yeah.
So
Can
meaning that. When you are on the Prismic repository and that you are an editor, you will create a draft, and then you will be able to click on the preview button, and you will have a session that will basically be only for you. If another editor in your Prismic repository, in your Prismic project, will create another draft and launch, click on the preview button.
Like working on something completely different.
They will have their own preview session, and basically the two preview sessions will not like overlap.
Conflict. They will not apply. So basically, if I'm working on something that breaks the website,
yes.
If someone else doing a preview for something that they have to publish now, they will not be impacted by my change. They will have their own session. This is what we call the unlimited preview sessions, and we have like a different mechanism, like releases that help you with scheduling, that need this kind of concept of multiple sessions of previews, right?
Yes, exactly. And so
that was our goal. We really want to leverage that, and we did a lot of efforts to leverage that.
And we pushed really hard for that. So to explain how we've done that, and so the source of the problem, we'll just go a bit technical, but not too much. And to explain how it was working and what are the mechanisms in a schematic way, in a simplistic way maybe, to give you just an understanding of what's happening. So basically, as you know, when you are building a project with Gatsby and Prismic, what you have is a data source, so Prismic. And when building the project, basically Gatsby will source the data from Prismic and then build internally a GraphQL API, and then the React app will query this GraphQL API internally. Okay. The thing and the idea that we had is simple, is the fact that we at Prismic provide already a GraphQL endpoint, a GraphQL API. And our idea was, okay, can we do something simplistic? That will be that basically the query...
No, not simplistic, simple.
Simple. Simple. That will be that when you are building your query to query the internal GraphQL API of Gatsby, the query will be exactly the same as the one that you could run directly to the data source, so to Prismic.
So basically, Gatsby is building a GraphQL API, and we have GraphQL. Let's say like, okay, if we match exactly these queries, then we can sometimes, when we are in a preview session, not go and fetch the built API, okay, the built GraphQL API, but fetch directly from the source with the same GraphQL query, right? This is the idea.
Exactly.
So if we use directly, instead of using a REST API and on top of it a GraphQL API generated by Gatsby, we have the same GraphQL query and then we can play it on the client side.
Exactly.
Basically. So our observation was Gatsby is React. React runs on the browser. So if people are previewing, we can know that they are previewing by doing some session on something, and then we call directly the
client, the data source.
The data source, so Prismic directly without going to the built, the fetched GraphQL API in Gatsby, and then we can get the source and we get the preview session. And this way we can have unlimited preview sessions.
So we changed from this point, that was basically at build time we query the internal Gatsby API, the GraphQL one, to be able to understand when a user was in a preview mode, in a preview session, and then in a preview session from the client side to query Prismic right away, and then replace the data that you have in your React app by the data coming from Prismic.
So that was the idea, and that also was what we worked together with Berkir about, and that was the plugin, and it was working well actually for quite some time. It was delivering that kind of value, and we saw a lot of people are happy to have this kind of multi-session, quick preview, and in the client, and you don't have to build the whole thing. There were lots of advantages for using that.
But the thing is that the way it was built was the fact that we wanted to basically keep the query that you were doing at build time and to expose it to the client so that we can replay it at runtime.
So you have in your code at some place, you have the query, the GraphQL query that you have there, right? And we had to implement a mechanism that will intercept this and will record it somewhere, so that when you're doing a preview, we know, for that page, you need that query, and we can play it ourselves, intercept that call, and play it ourselves, instead of letting Gatsby do that. So that was our patch or hack or whatever it is to make this work.
So
okay?
Is it clear?
Is
maybe
everyone
like this small
emoji in here, but yeah, probably with a keyboard or something.
So
let us know if
it's clear or if you have any questions.
I know it's a little bit complex. It's a bit more complex than that.
Makes sense.
Okay.
For Nick, let's say for Ador.
So this is the global story. That we found a mechanism, we implemented it, and it was working.
Yes.
Okay.
But it was relying on a patch that we did on top of an internal of Gatsby's internal. So basically, Birkir created a plugin specifically for that was patching the internals of Gatsby in order to keep the query that we were that users were doing at build time and to expose it to the client. And that was the problem, the main problem. The fact is that this patch, as I just said, was a patch. So basically, every time Gatsby was changing their internals, this patch might not be compatible anymore with the new changes that Gatsby were creating and pushing and merging and stuff like that.
Right. So we tried to talk to Gatsby. We said like,
Yes.
hey, we have a lot of people that really like this plugin and they use it in their production, and it seems to provide them with the value that is multi-sessions and all these kind of things. Can we integrate this patch in a good way so that it doesn't break each time, because it started breaking all the time? And it's like, okay, we implemented a PR to have some kind of hook where we can programmatically hook without having to do a patch into that life cycle and intercept that query. That was a neat solution that will not require much from Gatsby people, but still will allow us to have this kind of thing. Now, this is the moment where Gatsby was like moving a lot. So, Gatsby was introducing their own preview functionalities, and they were introducing also their cloud, and they had a lot of things to do, also refactorings. So always like we will get signals from Gatsby like, yeah, we want to work on it. And a lot of people like sincerely helped us inside. But their priorities were changing all the time. First, they wanted to monetize the preview, and then they stopped talking about that. They were to host. I don't know where we are at these stories now. But it never, we couldn't get them to integrate that kind of patch.
At least not fast enough, or not. Yeah, still it's still like
still until now.
Yeah,
and a lot of people were like telling us like this is breaking all the time, and
exactly.
we had to have a watch actually on Gatsby on any
change,
any new build that Gatsby is doing to the framework, so that we know that we need to know it ahead of time, so that people's project will not break whenever they will update. And that was a lot of effort. We had one person fully working full time, and he wasn't managing together with Birkir, and they were not managing. And then, Birkir moved to another. He moved to Next.
Yes.
He started working with Next at that point, and that's okay. Now, a lot of people are having troubles with it.
We are having trouble with it.
We are having troubles with it. I remember, you really liked this plugin, and you really liked how the value it provides with this preview and all of that. But we had to take that kind of very tough decision. It was a tough decision.
And internally, also the discussion were pretty complicated, because we had an education team that was doing support, having a lot of people reporting problems, but we were starting to say, okay, maybe this is not a solution that is maintainable anymore. The education team just created a documentation for Gatsby, so for this plugin, so we are saying that maybe we need to change our approach, so maybe this whole documentation became completely invalid.
I remember, it wasn't very long time ago, and I remember the education team, they worked for maybe a few months on a new documentation for the Birkir's plugin, and they were about to release it. Probably they released it, and we told them we should kill that. And it wasn't a great event, because a lot of people invested so much energy, and they liked that how it worked, and liked the value it was delivering. But we were thinking and maybe this is the next slide that you're talking about. We thought okay, there is a problem. The problem is we didn't go exactly the Gatsby way. It wasn't clear for us what the Gatsby way. We tried to provide something on top of Gatsby, but it didn't seem to align with their strategy. And we thought maybe this is the moment where we tell people okay, you're working with Gatsby, then you get the Gatsby way. And that was, even for us, it was hard to admit okay, Gatsby way is one preview, and that's it, and that's how Gatsby works. Maybe we'll find a way to integrate more previews, multiple preview sessions. Gatsby wants people to use Gatsby Cloud for previews. Maybe this is the Gatsby story. Why are we fighting the current? We are swimming against the current. Why are we doing that? we wanted so much to provide more, but everyone else was happy with how the others were doing, and we thought like, okay, well, maybe this is the Gatsby story. So here the lesson learned is like, maybe we should go more with the current instead of like trying to fight it so much. So we thought like, okay, Gatsby Cloud, let's restart and do things the Gatsby way, for whatever they thought of, instead of like whatever we think that is better or whatever we think that could be better for the users.
That's the first maybe really painful moment was after that, and we started to put in the documentation because we had complaints about the state of the plugin and how it was working, and so we started to basically deprecate our documentation because we were saying that okay, we were switching strategy and we needed to go another path than with the first approach, and we started to deprecate the documentation and to make it clear to everyone that we didn't recommend this plugin anymore. Luckily,
now you cannot imagine my face when I'm trying to convince the education team, look, you have to drop everything you did, and to tell everyone like you have to drop everything you did on the documentation, on the plugin, and we have to start over again. It wasn't the good news for anyone, right? No. But it was probably the right news, the right thing to do, yeah, for the context that we have.
But luckily, we have an awesome community, and Gatsby does too. And the thing is that we had another contributor, another Prismic user called Angelo Ashmore, that built another plugin, taking the right approach, like probably the Gatsby way, as you described. So basically fetching the REST API as a regular Gatsby source plugin, building the GraphQL API from this REST endpoint, and basically adopting the regular developer experience that you have when you use
the
Gatsby.
Regular Gatsby way, basically. I have a question, and I will not exactly answer it, but from Ziga, who says, I wanted to migrate the new plugin, but it has a limitation that doesn't allow you to use dashes in Prismic field names. I use dashes all of my field names. What advice can you give us in that case? I really urge you to write in the community your question exactly as it is. Why? First, you will get an answer to it. Second, it will help all people that are in your so that will be helpful to the whole community, because a lot of people will have the same problem like you, and they will have the answer for it. And I'm sure that education team will try to either find a workaround or to tell you how can you handle this. And maybe we'll like change something to help
documentation.
You.
No, but like because I know that they introduced a migration guide. So it will be also a good thing to add if it's not there.
Yeah, but basically all your questions that happen in the community, then we see the popular ones and then we get them into documentation. This is also something you can really help a lot, Zika, by putting it in the community. I don't know if we have a link not far to the community.
If Paulina, you can. I see that there is Paulina or Noah. If you can just pass the link to the community, it would be awesome.
So we started. So we found out that there is another plugin. So basically, we put a team on it. We put a team with two people,
Vincent and Marc,
and still like, okay, how can we solve this problem? And they looked around and they found that there is already a plugin that is pretty popular that was being used, and that is doing things the Gatsby way, the simpler way, basically, and the easy way, the Gatsby way.
And it's coming from the team that and that we understood what was the problem, that we understood how. That we needed to change. That from Vincent and Marc's inside, that we were okay. We need now to switch our strategy and switch the focus, so that basically we solve this problem once and for all, and we don't have the problem anymore. So Angelo was working pretty actively on the plugin, releasing a lot of new improvements, and we started to work with him and pass some PRs, pretty soon, like in October, we also started to discuss with Gatsby in order to make this plugin, to make some changes in Prismic in the product, and in the plugin in order to support a new Gatsby feature, so being closer to the Gatsby ecosystem by supporting incremental builds. This was released. The PR was created in October 2020. We had Gatsby looking at it. We had Angelo looking at it. We started to really create a community around this, and this was validated, meaning that we basically released Gatsby Cloud preview support and incremental build support at the end of last year, so a month ago, basically at the end of last year. and introduce that, so a way to do preview for the content the Gatsby way with Gatsby Cloud. So what are you saying? And there is the migration article. Thank you guys. We'll post it there. Okay, cool. So I see that this is interacting on the chat, passing the proper resources. So that's awesome. So as I said.
So by the way, just to say. So these kind of things and updates, like now we did a special event for Gatsby, but if you want to know about what's going on and the stories behind things and what are we working on all these kind of things, you can join our product meetup. We do it every month. So basically often it's the last week, last Wednesday of the month. Yeah. If someone can share a link to that, and there we'll discuss what our plans and what are the things that's released. So if you like this kind of knowing about things, knowing what we're preparing, working together with us, giving us feedback, the product meetup is a good place for that. So see you there if you're interested.
So we released Gatsby Cloud Preview support in this plugin, and also by doing some changes in the product, and it's now supported. And we started to basically support preview the Gatsby way again by using that. Now I'm interested in, because we got this feedback quite a lot.
Wait.
Yeah.
Wait. I see Angelo is here.
Ah, okay.
Hello, Angelo.
Hello,
That's why I
Angelo.
told you. Hello, Angelo. I really wanted. I was telling Nuha early today, like, why don't we have a call with Angelo and introduce him into the event? And we have you live with us. And then Nuha told me, but he lives in Hawaii. Like at 6 our time, it will be like what? 7 in the morning. What time is it there, Angelo? So thank you for being here, Angelo. We really wanted you to be here. Maybe next time we can be here. So Angelo is the one, as we said, that created this plugin that we're talking about. So thanks to you for all the efforts. It made things easier for us. So you were saying something, and I had to interrupt.
Go ahead.
You. No. Yeah, that's
so we released the Gatsby Cloud Preview support, but this event started at 7 a.m. for me, pretty early. And we are now getting some feedback about the fact that people don't want to have preview but don't want to use Gatsby Preview. That's
the Gatsby Cloud Preview,
the
right?
Gatsby Cloud Preview, the Gatsby Preview, the product, and I wanted to maybe also get some insight on what was causing issue for you in using Gatsby Cloud Preview, because the first plugin was handling preview in a different way, but now the common way to manage all your preview will be this way. We'll talk maybe a bit about other ways to do it after, but I'm interested in why people are not willing to use Gatsby Cloud's preview.
So the question here,
yes,
do you prefer our old preview, or do you like Gatsby Cloud Preview? And if you like, please tell us if you like the Gatsby Cloud Preview. And if you don't like that, please let us know why and what are the things that you want us to solve, basically. And we'll get to that point. I see someone is asking, are you planning to showcase demo in future events for us to follow and get understanding or something like that? That's
you mean
Venkata? Is it like demo of the product or demo of future features, current features? What is it that you want? Because we have different events. We have some events where we have demos of the product for people that are joining the product and it's their first time with the product. But also we have in the product meetup, we have we sometimes talk about prototypes and things that are coming in the future. But we have other events where we go into specific content modeling and stuff like that, and we help with this practice. So we have many events, and please let me know which ones you prefer. So Nick says that he prefers. I'm not sure he or she, but I guess he. I don't see the picture. I'm sorry. Prismic preview over Gatsby Cloud. Can you tell us, please, why you prefer that? That will be very useful for us. I mean, we hear that feedback, as you said, or no, but it will be interesting to understand.
So what I saw is budget.
Yeah, budget. So Florian says, I like Gatsby Cloud, but for small budgets, it's not in the budget. Okay. But Gatsby Cloud, even if you're just doing the previews, it's still expensive. Like, imagine you use Gatsby Cloud, but just for previews. Is it possible? And is that still too expensive for a small project? Okay.
So I saw a lot of dollars, and, and as a first comment. I also saw people that just don't want to host on Gatsby Cloud and prefer to have their own network to host the website.
Yeah.
So basically, being tied up to Gatsby Cloud, the hosting solution to be able to preview is the main thing that is a problem for you, and the fact that it costs money, a lot of money. Gatsby
maybe there are other things as well.
Very expensive for large teams. Okay, I'm using this as well. Almost everywhere.
You can read them out because. So. I will look at what also, if Nuha has put something for me. Will you be sharing a recording, Cassibel? Yes, we have a recording, and we will post it on our Twitter, so you can see this in the recording as well. Using Gatsby Cloud for preview means adding yet another tool to the mix, more complicated. Yeah, probably they're working on a way to make that integration more seamless. But okay, noted for that. But yeah, like sometimes you want to host it on your own thing because you have your own infrastructure, and I understand that you don't want to add one more hosting thing on top of that. And Nick agrees with Mark on that remark. Okay, that's great. So some people mostly budget and choice of hosting. You don't want exactly to host on that. And in which case you would not do previews at all, or you'll find a tool, another way to do the previews. Like, what would you do in this kind of case for previews? So maybe you want to go to the next step.
I'm interested also in one question. Is there anyone using Gatsby Cloud in the chat?
Who is using actively
Gatsby
Cloud and really like it? And what do you like about it? Now, this is also interesting. Maybe you can help the others find what's good about it in that case. So who is using Gatsby Cloud and really like it? And can you tell us what's good about it? What's great about it? All right.
Yes, but not with Prismic yet.
So Nick is saying they are using so Nick says we are actually using the preview tool using Angelo's plugin, and it's working well except for a few small bugs. So don't use Gatsby image anymore, which I know causes issues. Okay, so Florian really likes about Gatsby Cloud the fact that you have real incremental builds. They are great because I guess they go faster or something. And especially maybe you don't build on your own machine, which like you'll not have to spend so much CPU. So what's next? I don't even remember. It's like what's next is what's next, right? No, what we did. Okay.
So the last thing that we did after the release of the release of Gatsby Cloud support was to start a documentation around the Angelo's plugin and the new plugin that we now recommend. So this was released last week. Angelo plugin is now the one that we recommend. Paulina and the whole education team did a huge work on documenting that. They basically revamped the whole documentation to point to the new plugin, but also to review the way we guide you through the usage of it, introducing step-by-step tutorial basically in order for you to understand how to use it and what are the process and the developer experience that you should follow or try at least to guide you. the best way. If you have any feedback, by the way, about that, since it's pretty new, don't hesitate to bring it to the education team. They will love to have it.
So the team is still working on the GAT. So it's an ongoing work. They released this version, which is like has a lot of things, and it documents a lot of things about Gatsby. But still, they will do more material like video and more tutorial style documentation. I guess Phil and Levi and the rest of the team are working on that. So I mean, you can check it often, and you will see like you will have updates. So we released the document. So we released the plugin, the Angelo. We recommend it as a way to do, and then we released the documentation for it. Like this is like recently.
Yeah, exactly. And this can lead you to also configure your project in order to support Gatsby Preview, Gatsby Cloud, and everything.
Yep. So like now, okay, we had this long discussion, and we gave you context on that. Like you are still a Gatsby user with Prismic, and maybe you use other things than Prismic, but the question here for me is, what if you had the choice to do 2 requests to Prismic to improve Prismic or Prismic plus Gatsby? Like it could be like, oh, I really would like Prismic to improve this, or it could be I really want the integration between Gatsby and Prismic to support this thing of Gatsby. It could be any of these. What would be your 2 requests to Prismic? It could be something not related to Gatsby, that's fine. But just tell us, what are your top 2 requests that you would like Prismic to implement to make it like better? Okay, and can be very helpful for us. So think about it. Think like, what are the top 2 things? Like today, you're working on a project as a developer, or you're running a project that is already in production. What can make your life much easier? Like, what are things that you run over like often, and you say like, if only Prismic could do this or could do that, and it could be anything. Okay, don't hesitate to comment, and that will be very helpful for us. So okay, meanwhile, maybe I don't know what time is it, because you still have a few things, and it's already 7. Maybe we'll run like 10 more minutes. You have a few slides, not many.
No, not many.
Yeah.
No.
So can I answer the question about images? I mean, quickly, the image.
Yeah, for sure.
Because we have a functionality for that, and the Gatsby has this kind of process for converting images. For sure. Do you want to answer it? Should I answer it?
Go ahead.
So basically, and please correct me, because I might be not up to date, because it's been like 2-3 months we didn't talk about that. But the thing is, like Gatsby images, what does it do? You have some kind of script, some kind of a process that you run on your machine that will go and grab all the images that you use in your page, and will kind of transform them, right? It will like crop them. You put some kind of specification, and it will crop them. It will make different versions so that you have different versions for different browsers, and also it will do lighter versions so that when you load your website, it loads quickly. This is a really good service. I mean, and having it up having it out of the box without having to develop it is really, really great. So that's really good. The thing is, still you have to run a script on your computer and have everything reconverted and rebuilt. What we thought is that it should not use your computer CPU. Your computer CPU is limited. Like you don't have unlimited CPU power. Whereas us, we have this is our business to scale and to have a lot of servers, and then you give you an interface and everything runs on a lot of servers. This is our business and someone else's business than having it on your CPU, because your CPU already. Okay, here's the thing. Already my CPU is not. I can't live up with my Chrome tabs already. This is really crazy with my Chrome tabs. Now, if I have also to have Gatsby using my CPU, that's too much. That makes the machine really run too much CPU. So we thought like, okay, maybe we should do it on the fly. And then we thought about it, and we saw like a lot of services. A lot of people of you know all about these services. There is Imagix, Cloudinary. Well, there are many of these services where you basically give a URL to your image. You upload it somewhere. In this case, at Prismic. So you use Prismic and you upload the image to Prismic. And this service is a proxy that will take your constraints that you will write. You will write exactly as all these constraints that you need as you would do with Gatsby images.
Yeah.
But you don't run it on your machine. When someone requests it, they already, like when you preview your page that has the images, Imagix or Cloudinary will go and do it on the fly and process it, and not on your machine, on their servers. So it costs nothing on your machine, okay? So that's, and it's done in the cloud, so you don't have to care about it. And what we did is we introduced these two services. Imagix, we introduced Imagix, and we introduced it out of the box without any additional fee. Okay, so that's the thing. You wanted to add on this story?
I wanted to add something. Is that so? What you said, Sadek, is that basically
this is what Nick actually did. So
yeah. What you said is basically when you are running a Gatsby website and Gatsby images, so to process your images and to crop them and to resize them and everything, you are doing it at when you are at build time. So when you are basically building your website, you download the image, you compute them, you resize them, you crop them, and then you deliver them. But you do that at build time. The thing is that we saw a huge tendency in the Gatsby community to ask for faster build. That's why, for example, Gatsby implemented incremental builds to fasten the build. But we saw some studies coming from Netlify and from other companies that was showing that most of the build time for Gatsby website are basically when you are using Gatsby images. Because you download them, you compute them, you crop them, you resize them, you do all that.
That's a lot of CPU power.
Exactly. And it takes a lot of time for your build. So what we said is, okay, let's move this part away and use Imagix to basically do the cropping, but not at build time, but at runtime when someone requests it. When it's done, we resize it. When it's requested, we resize or we crop it, we cache it, and for all other users, it will be cached, and so really, really fast.
Right, and the thing is, Imagix in this case will detect the browser and all of this, and will deliver the right image to these different browsers. That was the thing that we did. So basically, when people complain about like, okay, my Gatsby build is growing really quickly, and it's it takes a lot of time, you can really drastically improve it by putting, for instance, images on Prismic and having it run through our API. You will have optimized images as you wish, but you will not have to run it in the build. So that's a huge improvement in your build speed, but without any sacrifice on the performance of your website, basically. So
forms is a huge discussion, it seems.
Here's forms. Yeah, there are questions. There are so many questions that I didn't we couldn't answer. We didn't have the time to answer. So maybe we can like roll the slides so we can finish with the slides.
Okay, so we wanted to take some time to just discuss what's coming next for Gatsby and what is on our plan. The first thing is that, and it's good that Angelo is here, is the fact that Angelo released for the plugin, is working on the V4 of the plugin and released the complete roadmap of the different improvements that he's pushing for and putting and basically putting on GitHub. So everything is, you can follow it on GitHub, you can comment it, and you can also have a complete details of his roadmap on the website and the link that Noah just shared. So perfect, Noah. And basically the main changes will be that there will be the Gatsby source Prismic v4, and that will, for example, support multi-repository and fetching from multiple repository, but also he is creating a new plugin, a second one, separated one, to handle preview. And because Angelo started to work on the previous version on also being able to support preview client side.
So we're getting back to the client side, but in a different way.
Exactly.
So the idea was, okay, we got the foundation right, and the thing works well with Gatsby Cloud and all of that. And on top of it, Angelo, the thing that Angelo is doing is like on top of it, we can have a preview plugin.
Exactly. And this preview plugin should support the preview client side. You will need to add some configuration and development on top of the common usage.
But we'll see how smooth
Exactly.
how smooth we can get with that.
The second big improvement that so I advise you to have a look at that and do your comments on GitHub, because he opened like a pull request and also an issue so that you can comment on that. And the second big improvement that we are passing for the moment, because we know that it's painful, is the fact that at Prismic we are opening a custom type API currently. So we are working on opening a custom type API that will simplify completely the way you build your schema, because we know it's pretty painful at the moment when you use the Gatsby plugin, because you have to basically copy paste your custom type JSON into a folder locally for your project. So we'll be able to provide you an API that will be able to automate basically the fetching of those custom type schema and the build of your GraphQL schema in the whole workflow on the whole Gatsby life cycle, basically automatically.
Yeah. So one important thing about Gatsby is to have the schemas generated, the GraphQL schemas generated, and it was like a lot of work because you had to copy paste.
Yeah.
Now with this API, you will be able to integrate into your build, so you can have that kind of thing as a process each time you basically like change. Then you have that kind of job that will fetch and generate the schemas, so that it will be much and that's out of the feedback that we got from from the community, right? Yeah, Nick says, that has been painful, and I forget to copy paste the schema often. I forget, this is because it's manual, right? Everyone is happy about the custom. I mean, several people are happy about the custom type API. That's good. You really fought for this.
Yes.
I mean, the priorities. I was like, come on, no, we have other things that we need to improve in Prismic. Like, but this is very important for the Gatsby people. So should give love like to Renaud for sticking to this.
So we wanted to take 5 minutes to also take some time to give a lot of credit to the contributor that we cited in the presentation, because as you might have seen, we talked about not about our plugin, but we talked a lot about Birkir's plugin and Angelo's plugin. We might need to refresh.
Yeah, go ahead. Continue. I will refresh.
So,
I don't know how.
If you want we wanted to give some credit to Birkir and to Angelo's on their work. So if you need, for example, any advice, any help on your different Gatsby project, and you are looking for people to help you, you can know that they are now available to help you on those topics. So Birkir is now a founder at his new agency that we call Enem. And he's more and more focused on React and less on Gatsby, but he was a huge help and a huge contributor to the first plugin. He still is someone that we talk to frequently, and that provides a lot of feedback. We know he's willing to help, and so that's someone that we owe him quite a lot, on the plugin. And Angelo, that is here on the chat, that is also a senior developer to wall-to-wall, and that is maintaining and develop most of the features that are on the plugin and that you can rely on for the Gatsby plugin.
So you have the opportunity to thank Angelo. Thank you very much for doing all of that. I see a request here for media library, organization tools, folders, all of that. We were talking about it last week, and we want to have a look at this quickly. At this pretty quickly. So that's something that we want to handle as well. I mean, not related to Gatsby, but thank you for letting us know, Nikki.
By the way, if you want to help us improving the tools that we provide for developers, but also for content editors, but if you are really interested in Gatsby, we are currently hiring for DevExp. For Gatsby DevEx position, so basically being able to help on building the tools for the Gatsby integration, talking and speaking with the community in how to detect the best practices and how to implement
understanding
that
what's going on in Gatsby,
exactly.
And making best integrations to the upcoming features of Gatsby, all these kind of things. So if this is something that you find yourself doing on your own time, well, maybe you can get paid for that, and will help a lot our community. So if you're interested in that, don't hesitate to let us know about it.
And to click on the link that Noah just pasted in order to candidate. I'm done.
Yeah,
that
so
makes
we
it
have, as we said, if you like this kind of discussion, we have another, the same, but not only about Gatsby. We'll talk more about the general component based and building websites with components.
Yeah.
And how can we improve it? And the product generally, the editor, the workflow, anything that you see in the product. So we'll talk about different topics there. You can bring your feedback. We'll learn a lot from it. And then we can have the same kind of discussion, and we give you more insight at what's happening and why things are happening the way they're happening. So please come in this, and maybe we should at some point have a place for the event, have an event page or something, so that you can see the different events. Like if you have, here's one thing: if you have editors that want to learn about what Prismic is and they have to work on the project and they don't know, we have also events for that.
The product demo.
The product demo.
Yeah,
that we have the content writer experience demo or something like that. We have it also every 2 weeks, so you can have them go to that event and they will learn a bit quickly about what Prismic is. And there are modeling sessions also that we do, content modeling for different cases, e-commerce, other things. So don't hesitate to also go to our Twitter and subscribe, because follow our Twitter, because then you will see all about these events and stuff like that. Thank you very much for being here.
Yes,
that was we have a lot of things that we still have to read and we go through, and that's really great. We had a lot of
insights and
feedback. That was really, really great.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot, and see you maybe in the product meetup
in next week. Basically.
And we'll do all these improvements to the Gatsby integration. We'll make it better. So thank you a lot. I guess that's it.
Thanks
everyone.
Bye.
Goodbye.